Hey, it's Stoney here with another game of Mechabellum, and this is a classic cat and mouse game versus a high level player. So the MMR of this game is over 2,000. Let's go. Alright, at the bottom here, I am playing as a Fire Badger specialist. My opponent, Illuminati, is playing as a training specialist. I start off with Sabertooth, and I'm going to be up against Stormcallers and Arclights. Now, when you're fighting into storms, with the Sabertooth, you want to make a decision of what sort of tech you want to take to counteract this missiles. You can, of course, take AM. You can, of course, take AM here. But recently, I found that field maintenance is actually working really well into the Stormcallers because it kind of negates the damage of the storms, but at the same time, it has way more utility compared to AM. All right, we're going to have sabers on the line. We're going to add arc lights. This is the Sacco certified aggro formation. Just put your sabers on the line and give it some arc lights, and it should do just fine. The problem right now, though, is we do have an opposite side situation. So I am going to be attacking counterclockwise, and he who has the most range tends to win these sort of exchange. So in this case, I think the Stormcallers are going to do okay. Round 2, we got lots of interesting cards. Shield is always good for later rounds. Assault Storm is kind of a meme card, but both of us took it. For me, I think Assault Storm makes sense because I needed some Stormcallers anyways, just to bust his position open. I didn't expect my opponent to take it, since I already have Sabertooth, which one-shots the Storms anyways. Alright, so this is going to be a fun one, both of us with Assault Storms. With the Assault Storm, each storm has like 4,500 HP, so that's more than a Sledgehammer. These storms are now beefier than Sledgehammer, has higher DPS than a Sledgehammer, and it has higher range. So it's kind of a pretty significant upgrade. And also it changes the role of the storm from being a backline unit to a frontline unit. Alright, speed was taken at round 2 for Illuminati. I think he just really wanted to get into the action here. Okay, Sabertooth is trying his hardest to get through 2 squads of storms, but they are not dying quick enough. And Arclight at this point is just completely useless against storms. On the other side, we have Storm on Storm. And Storm will win. All right, round 3. We got our first unit drop. Triple crawlers is very enticing, especially if they're level 2. None of the other units are particularly good into storms. Maybe the Scorpion. Wouldn't be surprised if my opponent also take the triple crawler. Vulcan is another option. Right now, my opponent only has unupgraded Arclight, so there's another option of just getting Vulcan with range. But when you already have storms on the field, it may be a slightly risky decision. Okay, it's going to be triple blue boys for both of us. I started to add phoenixes because I noticed that my opponent's chaff clear or air clear is going to disappear within the first 5 seconds thanks to the storms. So the phoenix themselves should work really well, even into the assault storms. There's a level, which means these storms are going to be in over 9,000 HP. That's pretty insane for a backline unit. All right, there's going to be 4 crawlers, primarily used to distract the storms, and once they get into range, they should be able to do a lot of damage. My opponent, on the other hand, just continues to kind of build this back line. Right now, none of us is committing into anything. I actually sold one of my Sabertooth to bring out another Stormcaller because I just feel like the Sabertooth is not that useful anymore. And besides, the Stormcaller themselves actually has more HP than a Sabertooth. So Sabertooth has 14 AO1, and then with Storms with 4,500 each times 4, you actually end up with what, 18,000 HP as a squad? That's pretty significant. Alright, we're gonna get that arc light, which means these blue boys are gonna do a lot of damage. There they are. On the other side, we have Phoenixes in the air, and since my opponent has no anti-air, I am going to take this round. Alright, getting into round 4. So now we kind of know what each other's board is consist of. Now we just need to come up with a counter that not just counters my opponent's board, but also counters the counter. Okay, so we got the Stonk module, which is the most OP module in the entire game, and is an infinite money printer if you can use it wisely. For now, I don't feel like I really need to upgrade the Stormcallers. My opponent apparently does. And now it's got level 3 Storms with 14,000 HP per unit, and that's times 4. So that's a super chunky unit right there. Also added Phoenixes of his own to answer my Phoenixes, but no direct counter. I mean, I wouldn't call this a counter. This is just matching up whatever your opponent's doing. A counter would be like bringing a Raiden or bringing a boat or stuff like that, right? So right now, because he's got 2 squads of Phoenixes, and this one is probably going to die a little sooner because he has more chaff and also more storms. We'll see. And these level 3 storms are just not dying, but they are so good. All right, there goes my AA. So my opponent's going to take this round. Wasp Swarm is offered once again. I should have taken it last game. But right now, I'm just looking at this board here. He might very well just put vertical fans behind the tower and use them as later riding fans. I mean, that's what I would do. And that will also protect them against the Wasp Swarms. For me, I'm completely unprotected in the back, so I've added the Mustangs. They serve dual purpose. For one, it's an answer to the Stormcallers, so now with launcher overload, so these Mustangs are going to negate a lot of damage. And 2, I mostly needed the Mustangs to deal with the potential Wasp Swarm because I didn't want to upgrade the towers just yet. Alright, so here is the first definitive counter from my opponent, getting the boats to counter not just what's on the ground, but also the Phoenixes. Boat has been recently upgraded, so these are big boats now. They don't die as easily. He also took quick cooldown. Not entirely sure. I think it's mostly just for training specs, so now he can level something up every single turn. Acid is going to work wonders against these high-level Stormcallers. Yeah, fantastic. On the other side, how's my chaff clearing going? Still not great. I feel like these Phoenixes are still going to get popped. Yep. Which means I will need range next turn in order to protect these Phoenixes a little bit longer. Alright, the game is starting to slip away from my hand, and I don't like that. I need an answer to the bolts, and right now, all that I can think of is probably ranged Phoenixes. Another stonk module. I'm going to try to make more money. I'm going to keep selling the stormcallers. Range gets added onto phoenixes. Even more mustangs. Mustangs themselves are now just slightly more expensive chaff, and they also happen to intercept missiles. A round of levels, and we're going to buy some more phoenixes. Alright. Now, the phoenix boat dynamic is interesting. I think I need to have one level up in front of the boats in order to be really effective. And also I need to have way superior chaff clear, because the boats themselves actually contribute into chaff clear. And now with chain gun, it's going to do even better. So with the phoenixes, I just need to make sure I win the chaff war so I can connect with the boats. Later on, I could take charge shot, and charge shot destroys boats very quickly. And again, provided if you have decent chaff clear. But for now though, I'm just trying to survive. So 2 boats, 1 level 2. 1 level 1 and a level 2 with the stonk module, which means it'll probably get level once again. We'll see. Added oil here, mostly just to stop his chaff from moving too far, and also allows my chaff to move ahead. Alright, we still got some blue crawlers on the ground, but after those are gone, I think the phoenixes should be able to do his work. We'll see. I got a level 2 saber onto the tower. Beautiful tower timing. The boat's killing the level 1 phoenixes even through the tower debuff. Getting to the level 2 as well. Let's see if we can get to this boat. Nope, just one shot shy of destroying the boat. And this boat is getting another level for free. And every time it levels, Illuminati saves 250 supplies. That's significant. We got Farseers on both sides. I think Raiden is an interesting choice as well. Sandworm and Rhino. I think Sandworm might be interesting if you really want to, you know, add some pressure on the ground. But I already have Phoenixes, and you know I probably will take Charge Out Phoenixes. Took the Farseers, double attacked them with range and electromag. Specifically there to defend against this boat. My opponent decided to take a level 6 Rhino with armor right away. Surprisingly, he actually got the boat levels, and then he sold the boat. So now he's sitting on 2,300 supplies at round 7. Let's kind of put that into perspective. At round 7, you are supposed to only get 1,400. So he is getting 900 supplies more from selling the boat. And as a result of that, here is triple boat, well, actually quadruple boat, because he's got additional deployment. And now he's going to use these 4 boats to mobile beacon over and to the side. This is quite deadly because look at my HP. I'm at 1872. So for a giant like a boat, I think they still deal 350, if I'm not wrong. So if these 4 boats survive, if these 5 boats survived with something else, then I should be dead. Alright, so we got an AM device and a missile. So it's protecting the Rhino from being missiled and is clearing the chaff in front of it. Now the big difference, of course, is one, I got the Farseers. So I got the level 2 saber with the Farseer, and that should do quite a lot of damage. My opponent does not have a lot of chaff clear. The Stormcallers, they're okay, but they're being intercepted by the Mustangs. And of course, the Mustangs themselves are bodies in front of the tower. So these boats aren't really getting to the tower. They're also being disabled. So I have level 3 Phoenixes on the other side. Yes, we still got 4 boats left over, and that is super scary. But I feel like I might be able to get to my opponent's tower. And if I have a great tower timing, I should be able to do just fine. I got 1 level 3 Phoenix left over. Can I still get 1 more boat? Still a little dangerous, but I think we're not dead this turn. Oof. Rough round, though. Alright, 700. And a big problem to solve. So we got 4 boats. Next turn, he's just going to get chaff clear and a bunch of missiles. So I need to make sure that whatever he does, like all the missiles that's going to put down, is not going to be affected. It's not going to affect my army too much. So we can safely assume my opponent is going to get chaff clear on the ground. There's no reason for him to suspect any sort of chaff units in the air. And that's where I'm going to go. So if you're going to keep putting down arc lights, no problem. We're going to give you some wasp with shield. And even if you missile this wasp, I'm going to put the wasp a little forward. Even if you missile the wasp will survive. And therefore stalling your boats from and preventing them from doing the damage. At the same time, we need to double down on our phoenixes. We want to make sure that the phoenixes themselves have the right technology. So this round we still have 850 left over. Might be time to take charge shot. Leveled up a single Mustang. Couldn't remember why I did that. I think I was a little concerned about mothership from my opponent. So the Mustangs was there to clear the potential wasp coming in from my opponent. So this technology here. Alright. So he's got chaff clear in the form of the stormcallers and also another line of HP because stormcallers are very tanky. For me, I got shielded wasps and a bunch of phoenixes and now with charge shot. So my I suspect I'm probably going to take this side very quickly. Just with the charge shot. Phoenix with charge shot level 3 does 27,000 damage per shot per bird. And that's going to be one shot level 2 overlords. Alright, on the other side, we got boats shooting pretty hard. AM Mustangs, they are preventing some of the boat's missiles, which means the real damage is just coming from the chain gun. Okay, so we got the tower. The phoenixes are moving over. They're popping these boats one by one. Hopefully we can get enough of them before they get to tower. That's one. That's two. There's the tower. But good thing though, I still have Mustangs on the ground, which means the missiles are not really working that well. And here goes the rest of the boats. So I survived to live and to fight another day. Alright, we got Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm is detrimental for both of our armies, more so for mine because I run the weaker, flimsier phoenixes. But for him, I mean, he's got the boats as well. Now, when I click on the Lightning Storm, I did check my opponent's technology. He does run jump drive. So, in a situation like this, if I were my opponent, I would totally jump drive all my boats to the other side. And that's exactly what's happening. So he took the jump drive and now he's going to move all his boats over to the other side. We're going to put acid down here. I took shield on the phoenixes. The shield should be able to prevent the phoenixes from dying from the lightning storm. So he needs at least 2 hits. And then I changed my mind last minute to put the lightning storm on the other side. At this point, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squads of charge shot phoenixes, a bunch of wasps, 6 squads of charge shot phoenixes, a bunch of wasps, and just various kinds of chaff. My arc lights are actually pretty high level, so they can do a decent amount of damage. I kept the saber tooth. It's just a nice hunk of 34,000 HP. The Stormcallers themselves aren't really doing that much anymore because of AM Mustangs. So the mind game at this round is very intense here. Both of us trying to outwit each other. Alright, Lightning Storm is being hit on both sides, but I was able to get his bubble first, which means his chaff is disappearing. And once the chaffs die, the charge shot phoenixes are focusing onto the boats and taking them down very quickly. And finally, we are at a turning point. So I am stabilizing on my side of the board, and my opponent needs a way to get his momentum back. There's a couple things he could try. He could try to get some sort of mass AA, so Wraith might be a pretty good option. Melting Point, not so much, because I already have Charge Shot Phoenixes. I don't have any Giants. Melting Points make more sense for me. War Factory is pretty good. Take Armor and just kind of put them right there in the middle. I was expecting War Factory. And also, I wanted to have Melting Point anyways, because they're pretty good into the boats anyways. And I was just thinking, where, if my opponent were to put War Factory, where would that be, right? So there's the big spot right here. There's another big spot right here. I don't think my opponent would put the War Factory here because of acid. There's a pretty high likelihood of just War Factory on this area. And that's why I put the melting points closer to the left-hand side. This one is slightly in the middle. And that's because I wanted to deal with the Rhino as well. But what I didn't know was that my opponent's going to do 3 War Factories with armor on the line. And that's going to be a problem because level 2 War Factory with armor, 440,000 HP. That's, what, 10 seconds from a level 1 melter? That's insane. However, I do have Charge Shot. So this guy is now level 5, dealing 45,000 damage. So 90,000 damage per hit. It can probably kill this guy in 5 hits just from the Phoenixes. So I'm feeling pretty good. But I certainly did not expect triple War Factories. That is a huge gut shot. Melter gets instant lock onto the War Factory. And then the other Melter is also locked into this War Factory. So now all of the War Factory being locked onto. The fire is destroying all this chaff on the ground. There's no anti-air chaff clear, which means the boats are stuck shooting at this shielded wasp. And of course, the Phoenix is coming with the charge shot, sealing the deal, and claiming the victory. All right, excellent game here. And this is a great game of showcasing just the sort of mind game that you're playing with your opponent. Aside from just having units down, sometimes you need to click on the unit and see if they run a certain tech, and you can predict what sort of movement they have by just the tech availabilities. So for example, the boats, we knew that the boats were probably going to reposition, so we changed the lightning storm last minute. And then the other thing is the War Factory gut shot is very popular at the 2000 plus MMR. It's just very effective. I mean, there's very few things that can kill a level 2 War Factory with armor. So if they can't kill it, or if they're spending too much time killing it, which means you can just roll them over with the core army. All right, I hope you enjoyed this game. And if you want to see another video, here's one for you. And I will see you on the next one.
Prepare your tactics. Mechabellum's calling. Deploy your fortress. The battlefield's alive with swarms.